Okay, today we're gonna install a full exhaust system on a Vios dual DVTi. I'm gonna show you what the components are, more importantly, what they're called and what's to be changed. So this is the stock header. This is our long tube 4-1 header. I'll explain in a while why it has to be 4-1 and not 4-2-1. So to end that 4-1 versus 4-2-1 debate, but this is the one that we're gonna put. It's a bolt-on. So that means no cutting, no welding. Simply remove this, bolt this on. That simply drops in there. Put back the bolts. There's 5 of them. So installation is as easy as that. You can actually reuse your stock exhaust system with our hot pipes header because it's where this part meets, where this part is, it meets with the stock exhaust, so you can still use it, not a problem. If you just want the header and don't want a full exhaust system, you can. For a gasoline engine, you actually need 3 things to make power. First, you need air. 2, you need fuel. Air is obviously yung hangin. And in your case, it's 1.3. Pare-pare kayo 1.3, di ba? So in your case, it's 1.3 liters. Hindi siya magiging 1.5, hindi siya magiging 1.2, hindi siya magiging 1, hindi siya magiging 2 liter. None of this will happen. Except when you turbo or supercharge it. You can only increase the amount of air going in, you cannot decrease it. Kasi may tatanong anong pwede bang gawin to 1 liter para tumipid? Hindi, pwede. No, doesn't work that way. Fuel is obviously gasolina. This one na-adjust to through tuning. Which, by the way, tuning is not equal to tune-up. Magkaiba yung dalawang yan. Sa kotse ngayon, 2005 onwards, wala nang tune up. Kaya pag meron kayong kilalang shop, sinisingil kayo ng tune up, huwag nyo puntahan yun. Hindi niloloko lang kayo nun. They'll charge you $750 to $1,000 for tune up. Libre yan kasi wala silang kailangan gawin. Yung tune up kasi, once upon a time, ikaw malamang hindi mo naabutan. Ito malamang abutan pa. Karburador na makina. Diba? Ganyan. Ano ginagawa pag tune up? Tinatanggal yung filter. Makikita mo yung karburador. Ganyan. Tapos ito yung tali. Tapos ito, may screwdriver dyan. Pinipihit. Yan. Tapos, yan. Distributor. Ginagawa dyan. Pinipihit din yan. Yan yung tune up once upon a time. Kasi since everything's mechanical and everything's moving, lumuluwag lahat yan. Nawawala sa spec. Kaya pipihitin mo para humigpit, ayusin mo. Yun yung tune up. Modern cars now, there's no tuning out anymore. Everything's done by computer. Kung hindi mo magagalaw yun, hindi rin nagagalaw ng kasa yun. Pero kami nagagalaw namin. So with fuel, what you can do is add, you can minus fuel. Then the next one is spark. Yung spark plug is actually called spark plug timing. Hindi siya yung timing na camshaft, hindi yan. Camshaft timing, crankshaft, hindi yan. Spark plug timing means na kailan pumuputok yung pinaka-spark plug. Kailan pumuputok yan. In relation to kung nasaan yung piston sa loob ng makina. Contrary to what you've seen on the internet, I'm sure both of you nakita yung animation na ito, di ba? Tumataas baba. Nakita na kayo noon. Pag umakyat dito sa taas, di ba? Saka pumuputok yung spark plug. Mali yan. That's wrong. You do not fire the spark plug when the piston is on top. What you want to happen is, nandito pa lang yung piston. Paakyat pa lang, puputok mo na. Mas maaga mo maiputok yan, mas maganda yung power because even though for us humans, I'm sure punta kayo ng car show, di ba? Mayroong nagde-demo doon. Ito yung spark plug ko, ito yung spark plug na ordinary, mas malakas yung kuryente niyan. It looks instantaneous, pero if you slow it down, this is the very tip of the spark plug. You view it to a high-speed camera. Pag nag-spark yan, so there's air and fuel here. Masusunog to. Ang sunog niya, maliit, palaki, ng palaki, ng palaki, ng palaki, ng palaki. Para siyang posporo. Ito, yung paglaki niyan, meron siyang time. From the time that you spark it to the time na complete masunog yan, may oras yan. It's not instantaneous. So, back here. Pag paakyat pa lang to, from here to here, yung piston, may time din yan. So that's why you want to fire this maaga para by the time na umakyat siya dito, sunog na lahat yan. Hindi mo puputok yan pag nandito na, too late na yun para masunog. You want pretty much all the fuel to combust. Since all that fuel will be turned into energy para bumaba yung piston. That's called spark plug timing, and this one is almost always in mechanical terms, advanced. Yan, alam mo yan, advance ng distributor. Pakananata yun eh. Forgot. So this one is also plus minus. Pero in your case for gasoline cars, hindi nagma-minus, laging plus lang. So when it comes to tuning, these are the two things that are controlled. This is all software. This is software. Yung pag-control niya. Hardware naman, software controls hardware. They should work together. By hardware, we mean physical things like injector, mass airflow sensor, oxygen sensor, crack sensor, and a bunch of other things. Your software is only as good as the hardware that you control. Pag sira yan, kahit anong control mo dyan, sira talaga yan. And yung hardware, lahat yan may spec. Like in your case, when I noticed with your intake, there's a thing there on top, yung kulay itim. Tapos ito yung filter mo, di ba? Ito yung tubo. May kulay itim yan na may wire. That's the mass airflow sensor. Ang trabaho niyan is to read airflow, not volume. Yan yung isa pang mga mali ng lahat ng ibang shop na nakakausap at nagsasabi sa akin. Pag nagpalit ka ng intake na ganyan, tumataas yung volume ng higop ng hangin. Mali. Yung volume mo, 1.3 pa rin. Hindi tumataas yan. Hindi magiging 1.5 yan. As the name said, mass airflow. How fast the air flows in. What do you mean by flow? Pinakamas simple, daloy ng tubig. Nakakita ka na ba ng metro ng tubig? Di ba? May X dito, yung maliit, tapos may counter dyan. Anong sinusukat niyan? Hindi naman volume ng tubig eh. Daloy ng gano'ng kabilis dumaloy yung tubig eh. Yun din yung trabaho niyan. Tapos ito, nakasukat yan doon sa diameter ng stock na airbox. Which in the Vios' case is 2.25 inches. Hindi dapat lumaki dyan, hindi dapat lumiit dyan. Pag lumaki at lumiit, magmamali yung basa niyan. Parang ito, yung bahay yung sukatan ng tubig. Pinalaki mo. The flow might be the same, but the amount of water is different. In short, mali yung reading. Same thing with the mass airflow. So in your case, kaya nararamdaman mo yung lundo is because there's a lot more flow going in that this one does not know anymore. So ang translation nun, more air than the amount of fuel being injected at a certain RPM. Yun yung number one. So a lot of shops kasi, the problem with that, especially in the Philippines, you cannot buy 2.25 inches na pipe. Walang ganun sa Pilipinas. Ang meron nila, dos media. Itong dalawa parehas hindi pwede. pangit yung takbo niyan. Hindi siya mag-check engine, pero the result is either the mixture will be too rich or too lean. Both of which, laglag yung power. Sa exhaust side naman, yun, nakita mo yung stock na header mo, di ba? Ganyan yung itsura. Then, the aftermarket headers, our hot pipe header is like that. Yung sa'yo naman, stock na header mo, ito yung itsura niyan. Nakita mo yan, di ba, nung ginagawa? Tapos, pinagawa mo, 4-1 na mahaba. That's 4-2-1, mali. The way to think about exhaust flow is isipin mo, kalsada to. May kotse lumalabas galing car park. Ito, sabihin mong, the catalytic converter, ito, rough road. Dito lalabas lahat yan. I don't think you need even a high school degree to know na alin dito yung pinakamabilis na daloy ng kotse. Saan matulin yung kotse dito? Sa 4. Ito. Tama. Once again, it's all about flow. The volume is still the same, by the way. 1.3 liters going in is 1.3 liters going out. It's not going to be 1.5. It's not going to be 1. So it's still all about exhaust flow. But the thing about exhaust, there is a, once again, correct amount of flow. In simplest terms, pag ito yung tubo mo sa mid-pipe, this is the exhaust. Your exhaust kasi, hindi siya continuous stream ng gas. Hindi siya hose na dire-diretso. Isang ganyan. Piraso yan. Ng ganun. This is the actual pulse ng exhaust gas. Kaya dug-dug-dug-dug-dug yung tunog ng makina. Hindi siya dug. Ito yun. Ito, may time and distance din yan in between pulses. Actually, time, not distance. There's a certain correct timing for this one. Make the timing too big, it will lose power. Make the timing too small, it will also lose power. So, itong mga to, obviously, it's configured for stock. Let's say time 1. The range that you can play with is pretty much maliit lang eh. In actual terms, 14.7 is to 1. And you can go to about 13.5 is to 1. And 12 is to 1. 15, 16 to 1. Ito lang yung pwede mo laruin. Dito lang siya gawin. This is the only one that makes power. Pag lumaki yung tubo, malaki tubo, lumuluwag. So, mahaba yung oras. Hihina siya kasi you go to this range. Pag nilitan mo yung tubo, lilit yung time, dito siya pupunta. Hihina din yan. In gasoline engines, this is the correct air-fuel ratio. So, if you modify your exhaust to something bigger at humihina, it's not about back pressure, it's not about sungaw, it's not about any of those stuff that you read on the internet. It's all about this one, the correct air-fuel ratio. Because pag nagbago ka ng header, nagbabago ka ng air-fuel ratio dito sa loob ng makina. That's what causes power gain or power loss. So, the other shafts that don't have a dyno have no idea what that is. Basta lang, nagawa ng exhaust at lumakas yung tunog, job done. Kaya in your case, we have a set of headers like this one. Then yung mid-pipe is 1.75 inches. Ito, kasing size to ng stock mo. Hindi namin nilalakihan. Kasi pag nilakihan mo nga, yun, ito, humahaba yung oras dyan. Hihina yung kotse. Kasi, gumagawa ng exhaust. Basta, mas malaki, mas maganda. Oh. Wrong. Not anymore. Once upon a time, it was true. Back in, maybe, pag kotse mo early 90s na kotse. Old Civic, old Corolla. That's true. Not anymore. Yeah, there's a right way and wrong way of doing exhaust. And there is math involved. Primarily one is obviously you do a dyno test, which we have. Almost all our exhaust on all our cars, let's say basta gasoline cars, we keep the mid-pipe diameter the same lang. Luckily here in the Philippines, we can buy 1.75-inch pipe, 2.5, and 2. How I wish that we could have 2.25 pipe, pero wala eh. Because for bigger cars, this is the ideal size. Let's say 2 liter and up, 2 liter about 2.4. Since wala, we're forced to use this one. With the caveat of saying na, pag ito kinabit natin sa full exhaust, sabihin ko sa'yo, hihina yan ah. Yes or no, tutuloy hindi. Pag tuloy, edi tuloy pa rin. Basta sabi ko sa'yo, ito, hihina ng konti ito. Okay pa rin daw. Sige. If you want to fix it, then that's where your unit chip will come in. Because this one, you can correct fuel. So plus, minus, and then spark. Going back to our analogy here of airflow. If there's too much air or masyado malaki, what you do is, you add fuel. The flow will be bigger kasi with fuel. Once again, volume stays the same, but the exhaust flow will be more. Because, mas malaki yung sunog eh. The force going out is more. So this is the way to correct it. It's all about air fuel. So in your case, most likely, later pag na-dyno, we will see the graph like this. If this is 14.7, this is ideal. I most likely will see something like this one. Ideally, it should be something like this one. Dito sa mga 13 range. Should be that one. This is the best ideal for particularly sa Vios. 13.5 to about 13.8. Well, 13. About 13.8. Ito yung ideal AF for Vios. Hondas actually can go all the way up to about 12.5 to make power. Every car is slightly different. Any kind of muffler that you put on your car, if muffler only, adds walang gain, absolutely none. Pag muffler lang pinalitan mo. And let's say you have 3 tips here. The number of tips you have does not equal to how much power you have. Also 0. Pagbabago ba yung tunog? Pag naglagay ka ng tip, hindi din. All the tunog comes from the muffler, not the tip. The tip is 100%. Nothing more, nothing less. Does not add horsepower, but adds pogi points. And of course, adds price. I'm sure you guys see the new Civics now. Tatlo yung boot. Tatlo, di ba? Oh, bakit tatlo? Very simple. Yung Type R kasi tatlo. Yung Type R, tatlo. Yung tambucho. Pero ito, yung sa tunay na Type R, may dahilan. Bakit yan tatlo? Oh, ito, bonus na lang to. Yung Type R actually has no headers. It's a turbo engine, it has no headers. The turbo is integrated into the engine. This is the engine, this is the turbo right away. What it has is a downpipe. Then it goes out here. If you look at it under the car, pwede yung makina, isang tubo lang siya papunta dito. Diretso. Tapos, diretso na siya dito. Pack. Then it splits here. May valve dito yan, yung Type R. May active exec valve yan. Ang ibig sabihin nun, pag bumira, bumubukas to. Ah, wait, baliktad. The valve's not there. The valve is in the middle. Ganyan yan. So, if at maximum power, all the exhaust goes out here straight dito. Kaya nasa gitna yun. Kaya tatlo. It's the only reason. That's an engineering reason why. At saka normally ito, ganyan yung packaging niyan. Because this is where the spare tire is almost always at. Nandito to sa likod ng puwet, sa trunk. Yung Type R, walang spare tire. Kaya ganyan. Okay, aside from the header, what constitutes a full exhaust system is the mid-pipe, which is this long thing, and then what everybody's most concerned about is the muffler. Here we're using a Borla XR1 muffler, and the owner wants a dual tip setup, so we fashioned it with a Y section here, and these two acropovic carbon fiber tips simply slip in like so. These tips are actually held in place by the C clamps here. These tips are actually held in place with these clamps because it offers some adjustability in case you want the tip further out, further in, and some owners want the tip a bit offset, meaning one is more pasok than the other. It's their personal choice, and we offer that option on these tips. Now, a few notes about the exhaust piping that we use. We use a 1.75-inch stainless pipe, which is actually the same size as stock. Most will wonder, why don't you make it bigger? Because making it bigger will actually lose you power. We'll explain that in a little while on why is that. And it's actually for almost all modern cars. You make the exhaust pipe bigger, you actually tend to lose power and torque at the low end, which leads to you stepping on the pedal more and mas malakas sa gas. It's actually only under the car where you can appreciate a full exhaust. Yes, it's nice and shiny at the start, but 90% of it is quite hidden. So let's start from here. This is these are the headers up there. Then this whole thing from this part on all the way here is the mid pipe. We still use the same size piping, 175 inches, because that is the correct size. Make it any bigger, it loses power. Make it any smaller, it also loses power. Of note here is this one. A lot of people keep asking this one. What happens to the oxygen sensor? It has to go back. This one here is the secondary oxygen sensor. This goes back, and as you can see, there's a little extension here. It's not all the way inside because we don't have a catalytic converter anymore. The reason why we extend it so that this sensor will read a little bit cooler when compared to the sensor there on top. By doing this extension, we prevent a check engine light from coming on. And towards here at the back, we have our Borla XR1 muffler here, and then twin tips here. The acropovic carbon fiber is actually pretty nice, especially this car is red. I did tell the owner to get a set of black and red wheels. It'll really complete the look. So let's rev it up and see how she sounds. Bye-bye. Shoot! Ganun ba tanong sa'yo? Hindi.